They called me a thief. They stripped me of my name, my home, and my family, all because of one person, my sister. But if she thought I'd stay silent, she had no idea who she was messing with. My name is Betty. I used to think family was everything, until mine turned their backs on me in the most brutal way. This story isn't just about betrayal. It's about fighting back when no one believes in you. So grab a seat because by the end of this you're going to have a lot to say about what my sister did. Let me take you back to the beginning. It was just 2 days after our father's funeral. The house was still draped in black ribbon, and you could smell the lingering mix of flowers and grief. I was sitting in the living room, my fingers still trembling from writing thank you notes to those who came to pay respects. My older sister Vanessa walked in. Her heels clicked against the marble floor, confident and cold as always. She was dressed like a widow at a fashion show. Black silk, pearl necklace, no tears. She held a thick white envelope in her manicured hands. "Betty," she said flatly. "The will came in." I looked up hopeful. Our dad was a simple man, but he loved us equally. At least that's what I believed. Vanessa sat across from me and handed me the envelope. I tore it open, and my heart dropped. According to the will, Dad had left everything to Vanessa. The house. The savings. The land he'd inherited from Grandpa. I got nothing. Not even a letter. I read it again, then again. This can't be right," I whispered. Vanessa tilted her head, pretending to look sympathetic. "Maybe Dad didn't trust you with the money. You did drop out of college twice. That wasn't fair. I dropped out because I was taking care of him during chemo. Vanessa never showed up once. Not for a single doctor's visit. I felt the walls close in. I couldn't breathe. Where's the original will?" I asked. "I want to see Dad's handwriting. This is typed." She smirked. "That's all the lawyer gave me. Something didn't feel right. Dad would have never cut me out completely. Never. What would you do if your sibling showed you a will like this? Would you trust it or fight back? Let me know in the comments." I read every single one. For days I couldn't sleep. I kept going over our last conversation. Dad had told me, "Everything will be fine, Betty. You've always been there for me. You'll be taken care of." So why wasn't I? Then the worst came. I was sitting in my room trying to draft an email to the lawyer, when the police knocked on the door. 2 officers. One with a clipboard. "Are you Betty Mendez?" "Yes." "You're under investigation for forgery and attempted fraud." My blood ran cold. What? That's insane. Apparently, someone had anonymously submitted evidence that I had tried to forge a second will. One that left everything to me. I was stunned. I hadn't touched anything. I barely even understood legal documents. But the police had my name, my email, and even a USB with a fake document that had my fingerprints. They took my laptop. My phone. I knew right then it was Vanessa. Who else had access to my room? Who else stood to gain by framing me? But when I confronted her, she played the innocent card like a pro. "Oh my God, Betty, how could you?" she cried, crocodile tears rolling down her cheeks. "I know you're hurting, but to stoop this low? Dad would be ashamed." And just like that, the rest of the family turned on me. Aunt Maria blocked my number. Uncle Leon told me I needed serious help. Even Mom, who had always defended me, just sat there in silence. "You need to move out," Vanessa said coldly a week later. "Dad's house belongs to me now. You have 3 days." I left with 1 suitcase and nowhere to go. Where are you watching this from? Because no matter where you are, betrayal like this hits hard. Drop your country or city in the comments. I want to see how far this story reaches. I moved into a friend's guest room and spent my nights staring at the ceiling, haunted by the question. How did she do it? How did Vanessa get Dad's signature? How did she plant fake evidence? The betrayal was one thing. But the setup, that was war. I couldn't let her win. So I started digging. Quietly. Carefully. And what I found was just the beginning. She didn't just take my inheritance. She destroyed someone else's too. Because the day I found the old security footage from Dad's study was the day Vanessa's perfect lie began to unravel. You'd think losing your father would be the lowest point of your life. But for me, it wasn't grief that broke me. It was betrayal. Quote, calculated. Carried out by the one person I thought I could trust when the world fell apart. My sister. After Vanessa kicked me out of the house with nothing but a suitcase and the clothes on my back, I crashed at my friend Sam's tiny apartment. It wasn't much. A pull-out couch, creaky floorboards, and a drafty window that howled at night. But it was better than pretending I was okay. But even with shelter, sleep didn't come easy. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling fan, reliving every conversation I'd had with Dad. Every smile. Every moment he said, "You'll be okay when I'm gone, Betty." I made sure of it. If only he knew. Vanessa didn't just steal my inheritance. She made sure the world thought I was some greedy daughter who forged a will out of desperation. And now I was labeled. A liar. A fraud. A disgrace. But something in my gut refused to give up. And I remembered something Dad always said when things got tough. Sometimes the truth hides in the quiet places. That led me to the workshop. Dad's old shed sat behind the house like a forgotten relic. No one had touched it since the funeral, not even Vanessa. She never liked that place. Said it was dusty and depressing. But I knew it like the back of my hand. I practically grew up in there. So one cold evening when I knew Vanessa wouldn't be home, probably out sipping wine and playing victim with her friends, I made my move. The house had new locks, but the shed? Same broken latch, same cracked window. I slipped inside, heart pounding, and stood in silence. The air was thick with sawdust and memories. Wooden carvings of birds, old sketches, Dad's favorite flannel shirt hanging on a nail. It was like time had frozen. I started digging. Carefully. Slowly. There were drawers of sandpaper and wood glue, a stack of sketchbooks filled with Dad's loopy handwriting. And then in an old rusted toolbox, buried under a pile of screws and bolts, I found it. A small black USB stick. No label. Just sitting there like it was waiting to be found. My hands trembled as I slipped it into my coat pocket and left before Vanessa got home. Back at Sam's, I plugged it into my laptop, praying it wasn't just some old woodworking tutorial. There was only one file. A video. The timestamp? 2 weeks before Dad passed. I clicked play. What do you think was on the video? Would you have opened it right away, or waited until you felt safe? Let me know in the comments. The screen flickered to life. Dad was sitting at his desk, hunched over, looking pale, but alert. His voice was raspy but strong. "If you're watching this," he said, "something's gone wrong." My heart stopped. "I've updated my will," he continued. "Vanessa's been pushing, asking questions. She tried to get me to sign some papers I didn't understand. I refused." He paused, looked down, then straight into the camera. "I've divided everything equally. Betty has been by my side. She deserves her half. If that will disappears or if this message never reaches her, I want whoever's watching to know, Betty is innocent." I was frozen. Proof. Real, undeniable proof. He knew something wasn't right. He knew. But this video alone wasn't enough. Not in court. I needed the real will. The one he said he updated. And Vanessa? He probably made sure it vanished. Burned. Shredded. Gone. So I had leverage now. Something she didn't know existed. I copied the file onto 3 flash drives. Uploaded it to the cloud. Sent a copy to my email and another to Sam's. I wasn't taking chances. But if Vanessa had gone this far to frame me, she didn't do it alone. That's when I remembered her fiancé, Daniel. Back when Dad was sick, Daniel had come around a few times, pretending to be helpful. But when Vanessa wasn't looking, he'd get too close to me. Comments about how wasted I was on a life of caretaking. Once he even texted me late at night. If things were different, maybe we could have been something. I never responded. Never told Vanessa. I just stayed quiet. But now something about him nagged at me. He knew things. Too many things. And if Vanessa needed someone to help erase a will, plant evidence, or destroy a reputation, he'd be the perfect accomplice. So I sent him a message. "We need to talk. Alone. I have something you'll want to see." To my surprise, he responded within minutes. "Meet me tomorrow. 2 p.m. Parking lot behind Zane's Cafe. Come alone." Engagement prompt. Have you ever had to meet someone you didn't trust just to get answers? What would you have done in my shoes? Walk away or take the risk? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious. The next day I sat in Sam's borrowed coat, hands stuffed in my pockets, waiting near the dumpster behind Zane's cafe. Daniel pulled up in his sleek black car, sunglasses on, like some kind of B-list movie villain. Didn't think you'd actually show, he said, stepping out. I didn't come to play games, I replied, holding up the flash drive. You and I both know Vanessa didn't get everything legally. He raised an eyebrow. So, what do you want? I stared at him. I want to know what you helped her do, and where the real Will is. He glanced around, then leaned closer. You don't know half the story, Betty. But if you really want answers, you better be ready for what comes next. Because what Daniel said next didn't just confirm my worst fears. It opened a door to secrets even I wasn't ready to hear. Daniel stood there in the alley behind Zane's cafe, looking over his shoulder like he was being watched. His usual cocky smirk was gone. In its place, a kind of nervous energy I hadn't seen before. I expected arrogance, denial, maybe even threats. But instead he said 6 words I didn't see coming. She doesn't trust me anymore either. I blinked. What are you talking about? Daniel took off his sunglasses, stuffed them into his coat pocket, and sighed like a man who had too many secrets, too little time. Vanessa thinks I've been talking to people, that I know too much. She's paranoid, checking my messages, going through my drawers. I didn't know if I believed him yet, but something about the tension in his shoulders felt real. You helped her, I said quietly. Didn't you? You helped her get rid of the will. He didn't answer right away. Instead he looked down at the flash drive in my hand. What's on that? He asked. I didn't flinch. Proof. Of what Dad wanted. Of what she did. He swallowed hard. Look, I never touched any will. But I saw her burn some documents the night after the funeral. She said they were trash Dad left behind. I didn't ask. I should have. If someone you trusted burned papers after a funeral, would you believe it was just trash? Or would you be suspicious too? Let me know what your gut would tell you. I wanted to scream, cry, shake him. But I stayed still. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Daniel hesitated. Then finally said, because I think she's setting me up next. And if she'll do it to her own sister, she'll do it to anyone. That's when he made his offer. I want out. But I need insurance. I help you. I want something in return. I narrowed my eyes. What kind of help? He leaned in. Vanessa has a private storage unit on the edge of town. She kept telling me to stay away from it. But I saw the receipt once. It's under a fake name. I felt a jolt in my chest. A storage unit? That could mean anything. Or everything. You think the will's there? I don't know. But if it's not, I guarantee something else is. Daniel scribbled the address on a napkin, then looked me dead in the eye. If she finds out I told you this, I'm done. So whatever you find, use it fast. He turned and walked away, leaving me with nothing but a napkin, a racing heart, and more questions than answers. What do you think is in that storage unit? Hidden papers? More lies? I want to hear your wildest theories in the comments below. Later that night I sat on Sam's couch, staring at the napkin. The address was real. I looked it up. A rundown self-storage lot just outside the city. No cameras. No office hours. Just rows of rusted metal doors and secrets. But I couldn't go alone. Not this time. So I called in the only person I trusted, my childhood friend Leah. She didn't ask questions. Just grabbed a flashlight and drove. It was almost midnight when we pulled into the lot. The place was dead quiet, the kind of quiet that makes your skin crawl. Leah and I crept down the rows until we found it. Unit 207. The lock had been replaced recently. But Leah, she was always good with locks. After a few minutes and a bent bobby pin, it popped open with a soft click. We held our breath and lifted the door. It was dark, musty, and packed with boxes. Labeled in Vanessa's handwriting. Some said donations. Others said old files. But the box in the corner, that one caught my eye. It was sealed tight, labeled Archive, Dad. I knelt down, heart pounding, and carefully sliced it open with Leah's keys. Inside were folders. Dozens of them. Medical records. Financial statements. Bank logs. Some even dated years back before Dad got sick. And then at the very bottom, a yellow envelope. No label. No return address. I reached for it. And that's when we heard the sound. A car engine. Getting closer. Leah and I froze. The crunch of tires on gravel got louder, closer. Headlights cut through the darkness and stopped just 10 feet from the storage unit. We ducked down behind the metal door, breath held, barely daring to move. My fingers clutched the yellow envelope, but my mind screamed, "You're not ready for this." Then a car door slammed. Footsteps. One pair. Slow, deliberate. Leah leaned in and whispered, "Do you think it's her?" I didn't answer. I didn't know. But my gut twisted like it already did. We stayed low as the footsteps passed, fading into the other row. Maybe they were just dropping something off. Maybe it had nothing to do with us. But I wasn't going to stick around to find out. "Take what you can," I hissed. Leah grabbed a folder and a hard drive. I tucked the envelope inside my coat. We slipped out, pulled the unit door shut quietly, and moved fast across the lot, hearts hammering. Every shadow felt like a trap. Every breeze sounded like a whisper. We didn't breathe again until we were back in her car, doors locked, speeding away. Would you have opened that envelope right there? Or waited until you were safe? What would your instincts tell you? Let me know in the comments. Back at Leah's apartment, I placed the yellow envelope on the table between us. My hands were shaking, not from fear anymore, but something worse. Hope. Leah looked at me. "You ready?" I nodded and peeled it open. Slowly. Carefully. Inside was a letter. Handwritten. Recognizable, shaky script. Dad's handwriting. My vision blurred as I read the first line. If this letter is ever found, then the copy I left with my lawyer never made it to court. I looked at Leah. Dad left a second will. The letter went on, explaining how Vanessa had started acting strange weeks before his final hospital stay. He suspected she had gotten into his desk one night. He even caught her cleaning his room while he was asleep. But here's what caught my attention most. Dad mentioned he had mailed a copy of the will and his personal statement to his lawyer, Mr. Ashford. A man I had never even heard of. The only problem? The letter was dated 2 months before Dad passed. Meaning, if Mr. Ashford was real and he hadn't come forward by now, either he never got the mail, or someone made sure he never could. "I need to find him," I said, clutching the page. "If he's alive, if he still has the letter, this could clear everything." Leah nodded. "I'll help you look him up." We didn't sleep that night. We searched every legal directory, public listing, and old file in Dad's folder. Finally, just before sunrise, we found him. David Ashford, estate attorney. Retired. Lives 2 towns over. What would you do next if you were Betty? Show up unannounced? Call first? Or would you be afraid he might be in on it too? Drop your answers below. I want to see how you'd play it. I decided to go in person. If Vanessa had intercepted anything, I couldn't risk her knowing what I'd found. No emails. No voicemails. Just the letter in my hand and a plan forming in my head. By the time Leah and I reached Ashford's home, the sun had just started rising. His house was small, tidy, with rose bushes lining the path. Quiet. Peaceful. Almost too peaceful for the storm brewing inside me. I rang the doorbell. Once. Twice. Then, the door creaked open. An elderly man in a wool cardigan stared back at me, confused. "Yes. Mr. Ashford?" I asked. I think you knew my father. Gregory Hartford." His expression changed instantly. Not recognition, but caution. I might have. Depends who's asking. I handed him the letter. "I believe he sent you something before he died. Something important. I need to know if you ever received it." Ashford took the letter, eyes scanning quickly. His hand trembled slightly. And then he said the words I was terrified to hear. "No. I never got anything from Gregory." My stomach dropped. "But," he added, eyes narrowing, "he called me. Said to expect a package. Said it might be delayed. He never followed up." I assumed, Well, I assumed he changed his mind. I stepped forward. He didn't. He just didn't get the chance. Ashford opened the door wider. Come in. I think there's something you need to see. Because what he showed me next wasn't just confirmation. It was the spark that would burn everything Vanessa built to the ground. Mr. Ashford led us through the hallway into a study filled with books, dust, and the heavy silence of a man who'd retired from more than just his job. He moved slowly to a wall-mounted painting, an old landscape, and slid it aside, revealing a small safe embedded in the wall. I haven't opened this in years, he said, twisting the dial with practiced ease. But I keep everything. Especially things from clients I cared about. With a soft click, the door swung open. Inside were several manila folders, a few photographs, and a small black notebook. He pulled it all out and set it on the desk. My heart was pounding. Your father and I had a long relationship. He didn't like the idea of leaving things entirely in one place. So sometimes he'd send me backup copies. Notes. Thoughts. Just in case. He flipped open the black notebook. The first page read, Gregory Hartford, confidential, personal thoughts estate. I stared at it like it was made of gold. Are you saying he sent you copies of the will? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Ashford hesitated, then nodded. A handwritten version. Not official but clear. His wishes. Names. Numbers. Everything. He pulled out one more item. A photocopy of a letter I recognized instantly. It was the same letter I'd found in the yellow envelope. Except this one was signed, stamped, and dated. Have you ever felt something you touched could change everything? That's what this moment felt like. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a moment where the truth finally surfaced. Leah leaned closer. This proves she lied, right? Ashford nodded. If this is compared to the will on file, if there even is one, it'll show a clear contradiction. That's legal grounds to contest everything. I should have felt relief, joy, triumph. But all I felt was fear. Because if I had this and Vanessa found out, she wouldn't stop at lies. She'd try to destroy it and me with it. I need to get this authenticated, I said. I need to make it real. Ashford offered something unexpected. I'll go with you. I may be retired, but my signature still holds weight. And I kept records. Enough to verify its origins. As we packed the papers carefully into a folder, his hand paused. There's one more thing, he said, pulling out a photo tucked in the back of the notebook. It was old. Faded. But clear enough to see. Vanessa. In Dad's hospital room. Holding a folder that looked exactly like the one she claimed never existed. He shook his head. A nurse gave this to me. Said your father had asked for a picture of all his visitors. It wasn't meant to prove anything. But it might now. I swallowed hard. It was finally all adding up. What would you do if you finally had the proof you needed? But the enemy still held the power. Would you confront them or wait for the perfect moment? Tell me what you'd do if you were in Betty's shoes. As Leah and I left Mr. Ashford's house, a strange quiet settled between us. Full, but heavy. I held the folder close to my chest like it was my heart itself. And then, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. Just 5 chilling words. You shouldn't have done that. I froze. Leah looked over. What is it? I showed her the screen. We didn't say a word. Just looked at each other and knew. Vanessa knew. She knew everything. And I had no idea what she was about to do next. I didn't sleep after that message. Who would? I kept the folder close, tucked beneath the floorboard under my bed like I was hiding treasure, because in a way I was. Proof of my father's true will. Proof of Vanessa's lies. But around 9:30 a.m., just as I was pouring coffee into a chipped mug, there was a knock at the door. Leah and I exchanged a look. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't casual. It was the kind of knock that's too calm. Too firm. I opened it slowly. 2 officers stood there, serious and silent. One held a clipboard. The other rested a hand near his hip. Are you Betty Hartford? I nodded slowly. Yes, why? You've been named in an official complaint, one said. We're here to ask a few questions. May we come in? Have you ever been blamed for something you didn't do? Something serious? How did it feel? Comment below, I want to hear your stories. Leah's eyes were wide. I could feel her panic because it mirrored mine. What kind of complaint? I asked. The older officer's voice was calm, rehearsed. You're being accused of identity theft, financial fraud, accessing personal information from your sister's accounts without her consent. My stomach dropped. She said you stole private files, that you threatened her, that she's fearing for her safety. It hit me like a punch to the chest. Vanessa didn't just know what I had, she was already working to discredit me, make me the villain. I kept my voice as steady as I could. None of that is true. The younger officer scribbled notes. Do you have proof of where you were last night? Yes. I was with Leah. We were at a friend's house. I lied quickly. Leah backed me up, bless her. We didn't even leave town. The officers didn't press further, but they left a card. If you think of anything else, call. We'll be in touch. As soon as the door closed, I slumped to the floor. She's trying to flip the story, I whispered. If she gets ahead of this, people will believe her. They always do. Leah knelt beside me. We need to go public. Soon. And she was right. If we waited too long, the lies would take root. So we started drafting everything. The letter from Dad. The photo from the hospital. The timeline. The storage unit. Ashford's statement. I didn't want to make this public, but Vanessa forced my hand. But just as we began scanning the documents into Leah's laptop, the screen glitched, then went black. What the? She tried to reboot it, but a flashing message appeared. System error. Files corrupted. No, 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 she whispered. Betty, someone hacked this. I grabbed the USB backup I'd made. It wouldn't open either. Everything was gone. My hands started shaking. She knew. She knew we'd digitize everything. Imagine you found the truth, held it in your hands, and then watched it disappear. What would you do? How would you keep fighting? I want to hear what you'd do next in the comments. We had the originals, thank God. But I realized something else. Vanessa was watching us. Tracking us. The message. The police. The laptop. She had someone helping her. Someone with access. I called Mr. Ashford. Can we meet again? I asked, voice low. Somewhere safe. He agreed. We set the meeting for the next day. But before I hung up, he said something that sent a chill through me. Be careful who you trust, Betty. This isn't just about money anymore. I hung up and looked at Leah. We're running out of time. That night I moved the documents. Not just the originals, but backups of the backups. One went in my car. One in Leah's purse. Another inside a sealed envelope addressed to Ashford, locked in a post office box. If Vanessa wanted war, she was about to get it. But then, my phone buzzed again. This time no words. Just a photo. Of Leah. Standing outside her apartment, with a red X drawn across it. Vanessa had found her. No. She wasn't just coming for me. It took me a second to register the photo. Leah standing outside her apartment building, holding her keys and smiling at nothing in particular. She had no idea the picture had even been taken. But what sent my heart into my throat was the giant red X scrawled over her body. Sloppy, thick, threatening. Like a warning. Or worse, a promise. I showed her the message. She froze, then backed away from the window. How did she even get this? She whispered. She's watching us, I said, my voice tight. Or someone she hired is. We turned off all the lights. Shut the blinds. Every sound outside, footsteps, engines, even the wind, made us flinch. The paranoia was closing in like a vice. I'm not going to let anything happen to you, I told her. She wants to scare us. She's bluffing. But the truth was, I didn't know if that was true anymore. This wasn't just about money or wills or fake police reports. It was about control. And Vanessa couldn't stand the idea of losing it. That night I didn't sleep. Neither did Leah. Instead, I spent hours handwriting every detail of our case. Dad's letter, the photo, Mr. Ashford's files, the USB hacks, the police visit. Everything. I made 3 physical copies and mailed them to 3 people I trusted most. My godmother, my old professor, and a journalist I once interned for years ago. I didn't name Vanessa directly, but I laid out the facts. If anything happened to me or Leah, I wanted someone to know where to start digging. If you were in my shoes, would you go public now, or wait for the right moment? Let me know in the comments what you do, because every move now could be the last safe one. By morning we were running on caffeine and adrenaline. I was due to meet Mr. Ashford at the park near his house. Neutral ground. Safe. Or so I thought. Leah offered to come with me, but I told her to stay back. If anything happened, she had the backup files. I'll text you every 10 minutes, I said. If I don't, you send everything. She nodded. Be careful, Betty. I got to the park just before 10 a.m. Ashford was already there, sitting on a bench beneath the oak tree, flipping through a folder. Did you bring everything? He asked as I sat beside him. I nodded and handed him the copy of the photo with Vanessa holding Dad's folder in the hospital. His face darkened. That's damning, he said quietly. And with my statement and your father's letter, we've got a strong foundation. He looked around carefully, then leaned in. But I did some digging too. There's something I didn't tell you before. I froze. What is it? Ashford pulled out a business card. Sleek, black with gold lettering. She didn't just change your father's will. She created a fake consultant business to siphon money from his accounts 6 months before he passed. He pointed to the card. The name on it read, Hartford Equity Advisors. Vanessa Hartford, managing partner. She had her name on it, I whispered. She didn't even try to hide it. She didn't have to, Ashford said grimly. Your father trusted her. But I checked the state filings. That business was dissolved 3 days after the will was read. And just like that, the noose tightened. Not only had Vanessa framed me, she'd embezzled money, created fake businesses, and covered it up right before his death. How far would you go if someone stole from your dying parent and then made you look like the villain? Would you go to the police, or take justice into your own hands? Comment below. I want to know how you'd fight back. Suddenly, Ashford's phone buzzed. He glanced down, then stiffened. What is it? I asked. He showed me the screen. Private number. Message. You're making a mistake, David. I felt my stomach turn. She's watching you too, I said. Ashford tucked the phone away. This just confirms it. We move forward now. I'm contacting my former partner to notarize everything. We go public in 48 hours. He handed me a backup copy of his signed statement. You keep this safe. As I walked away from that park, a small part of me finally started to breathe. The tide was turning. I had a real chance now. But I should have known better than to let my guard down. Because when I got back to Leah's place, the door was open. Not kicked in. Not broken. Just unlocked. Leah. I called out, heart pounding. No answer. Leah. Still nothing. I rushed inside. Everything looked untouched, but she was gone. Her purse was still on the table. Her laptop. Her shoes. But Leah was missing. And on the kitchen counter was a sticky note. It read, Now you know how it feels. She took her. My sister took Leah. No. It was personal. I held that sticky note like it was poison. Now you know how it feels. 6 words. But they hit me harder than anything Vanessa had said or done before. This wasn't just revenge. This was a warning. A challenge. A twisted message. She'd taken Leah, and now she wanted me to know exactly what she was capable of. I called Leah's phone. Straight to voicemail. Texted her. Nothing. I checked the building's security cams, but the front desk lady said the system had been down for maintenance since yesterday afternoon. Of course it had. Vanessa had thought of everything. But what she didn't realize was that I had too. I had placed an AirTag in Leah's purse days ago. It was my paranoid backup plan just in case something like this happened. I opened the app. The signal was weak, but it pinged. A storage unit. Way on the outskirts of town. I took a deep breath, grabbed Ashford's statement, the backup drive, my pepper spray, and drove like a madwoman. What would you do if your best friend was taken because of your fight? Would you risk everything to save them, or call the cops and wait? Drop your answer in the comments. I really want to hear your thoughts on this. The storage facility was run down, half the lights flickering, the other half dead. I found the unit with the AirTag ping, Unit 116. It was closed. Locked. But I heard something. Faint. Tapping. Then a voice. Muffled but clear enough. Betty. My heart jumped. Leah. I pounded on the door. I'm here. Hold on. I ran back to the front office. No one was there. I grabbed a crowbar from a utility shed and rushed back. One swing. 2. 3. The lock snapped. I pulled the door open and there she was. Bound. Gagged. Terrified. But alive. I untied her, hugged her tight. He was crying. She was here, Betty. He came herself. I saw her. You saw Vanessa? Leah nodded, trembling. She said she wanted to give you a taste of losing someone. That you took everything from her, so now she's taking everything from you. I felt ice in my veins. Leah looked at me, voice trembling. She's not trying to avoid you anymore. She's daring you to come. Have you ever had someone you love get caught in the middle of someone else's cruelty? Share your stories in the comments. I'm reading all of them. We got Leah to safety fast. A friend of mine who lived in another town owed me a favor. She agreed to hide Leah for a few days. She won't find me there, Leah said, holding my hand. But you need to finish this, Betty. Whatever it takes. And I would. The next morning I met Mr. Ashford again. This time at a lawyer's office. His friend notarized his statement. We combined everything into one final airtight document. Everything was ready. But one thing still bugged me. Why no? Why had Vanessa escalated now? That night I got my answer. An email. From a fake address. No subject line. Just one sentence. If you go public, I'll tell everyone what happened to Mom. My blood ran cold. Our mother died when we were teenagers. Everyone believed it was a heart condition. But the night she died, there had been a fight. A terrible one. And only Vanessa and I knew the truth. I was 16. Vanessa was 20. Mom found out Vanessa had dropped out of college and was lying about it. There was shouting. Slamming doors. Vanessa left the house in tears. When I came downstairs, Mom was collapsed on the floor. I called 911. But she was gone before they even arrived. For years, Vanessa hinted that I could have done more. That maybe Mom would have survived if I hadn't frozen. If I hadn't waited those extra seconds to call. But she never said it outright, until now. Now she was using it against me. What do you think Vanessa's holding over Betty? Is it real guilt? Or just another manipulation? Drop your theories in the comments before we hit part 9. I stared at the email for a long time. Then I picked up my phone and dialed the one number I never thought I would again. My Aunt Jeanette. My mother's sister. A woman who had always said Mom's death was too sudden to make sense. She answered after 2 rings. Betty. I need to ask you something. About the night Mom died. There was a pause. I always knew it wasn't what it looked like, she said slowly. There were signs. Things your father never talked about. Why now? Because Vanessa's trying to use that night to silence me. My aunt sighed. Come over. I have something to show you. I went that night. She pulled out a journal. My mother's. I hadn't seen it in years. I found this a month after she died. I was going to give it to you when you were older, but I think it's time. I flipped through the pages. One entry just 2 weeks before she died froze me. I'm scared for Vanessa. She's slipping into someone I don't recognize. She lies. He screams. Sometimes I don't even feel safe around her. But I won't give up on her. Not yet. I sat there, stunned. It wasn't me she was afraid of. It was Vanessa. My mother knew something was wrong. My mother had been scared of her. I looked up at my aunt, heart pounding. Can I borrow this? Take it, she said. Take all of it. And finish this. I nodded. I was done hiding. Vanessa wanted a fight. He was about to get one. The truth. Every lie. Every betrayal. Tomorrow it all goes public. But just as I was about to leave my aunt's house, my phone buzzed again. A new email. One attachment. A video. I opened it with shaking hands. And what I saw made me gasp out loud. Because it wasn't just a video of Vanessa. It was a video of her, talking to my father. In the hospital. Holding a folder. And saying words I never thought I'd hear. Vanessa, I don't care what you want. I'm rewriting everything. You won't leave it to her. She doesn't deserve it. I do. The video kept playing in my trembling hands. Dad was lying in his hospital bed, weak but alert, his eyes wide with hurt and confusion. Vanessa stood over him, lips curled in rage. You gave her everything, she hissed. Even when she let Mom die. Well, not anymore. I'm taking what I'm owed. I hit pause. I couldn't breathe. This wasn't just proof of fraud. This was the unfiltered truth. That Vanessa believed her own lies. That she hated me so deeply she rewrote the world to justify it. But now, her entire mask had cracked. And I was done waiting. By sunrise I had sent the video to 3 places. 1. Mr. Ashford, who was already preparing the final packet for law enforcement and the press. 2. The same journalist I interned for. She promised to publish the story within 24 hours, after verifying every document. 3. And the State Bar Association. Because if Vanessa was still trying to pose as executor or legal representative, that title was about to burn. But before any of that hit the public, I had one more stop to make. Her house. I pulled up mid-morning in plain clothes, no warning. Leah was safe. The story was set to publish. I just needed to see her face one last time. Would you confront someone who tried to ruin your life? Or walk away once justice was on the way? Let me know in the comments, because this next part isn't easy to watch. She opened the door with a smirk. Well, look who finally crawled back. I didn't say a word. Just stepped inside. Don't get too comfortable, she added. I've already got people watching you. One wrong move. I interrupted her. Save it, Vanessa. I know everything. Her smile faltered. I tossed the printed journal entry from Mom onto the table. Her eyes flicked to it and then I saw it. The flicker of panic. But I wasn't done. I pulled out my phone, hit play. The video. The second she heard her own voice saying the words, making the threats, her face went pale. You were bluffing, she whispered. No, I said calmly. You were. No. You've lost. She lunged forward, but I stepped back. I've already filed it all. The police will be here by noon. The article drops at 6 p.m. You still have a choice, Vanessa. She stared at me, breathing heavily. What choice? You can confess. Admit what you did. Maybe spare yourself jail. Or keep denying it and lose everything when the world sees who you really are. She sank into a chair, shaking. You think I wanted this? She snapped. Dad always saw you. Only you. Mom too. I was invisible. I had to make them see me. I blinked. By destroying me? You already had their love, she said, eyes welling. I only had what I could take. I should have felt pity. But I didn't. I felt done. You're right, I said quietly. You took everything. But now it's time to give it back. I turned and walked out for the last time. If someone told you they hurt you because they never felt seen, would that change how you feel? Comment below. I'm curious how others handle betrayals from family. That afternoon the police arrived. Vanessa was arrested without incident. Fraud, document tampering, attempted extortion, false accusations. Her charges stacked like bricks. The article went viral. Dad's letter. The video. Mom's journal. Ashford's testimony. It all painted a picture the world couldn't ignore. Suddenly, everyone who had whispered behind my back went silent. Some reached out with apologies. Others stayed away. And that was fine. Because I didn't need their validation anymore. I got the will restored. My name cleared. The house, the inheritance. Dad's trust in me? Earned. But even better, Leah was safe. So my friend. So my family. And Vanessa? She took a plea deal. 5 years minimum, plus full restitution. Her lawyer argued she was mentally strained during the events. But the judge didn't flinch. You didn't just betray your sister, he said in court. You betrayed a dying man's last wishes. That doesn't get buried. A few weeks later I stood in front of Dad's grave. I did it, Dad, I whispered. I kept my promise. I protected what you built. The wind rustled the trees above me. The air was calm. For the first time in a long time I felt peace. Because this wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming my story. If you've ever had someone twist your life into a lie, I want you to hear this. You're not crazy. And you're not alone. The truth always finds a way out, even when it's buried deep. What would you have done in Betty's shoes? Did she handle it the right way? Or would you have gone even further? Drop your final thoughts in the comments. And if this story meant something to you, like, share and subscribe for more true justice stories that hit deep. See you in the next one.